This week's Real Country File is kindly sponsored by Crone Machinery, so thank you very much, Crone. And anyway, Angela caught up with them while she was at LAMMA show. Also, Stephen caught up with Ben Briggs from Farmer's Guardian. But it's a two-parters. Part one's this week and part two is next week. Anyway, over to Angela now, who's on the Crone stand.
So we're at the LAMMA show today. It's day 2, but this week's episode of the Real Country File is being sponsored by Crone. Now, obviously, Crone are very well known for a variety of different harvest machinery and agricultural equipment, but today we've got the specialist Craig with us, who's going to tell us more about the GX wagon. Okay, Craig, so give us a whistle-stop tour of this machine. Tell us a bit more about it.
Okay, so here we are, we've got the GX 440 multi-purpose trailer we've introduced from Crone. So at the front, you'll see it's got a moving headboard with a Perspex viewing sight hole through it, so you can see everything that's going on in the trailer. This model here is the 440, which is 44 cubic metres. This one's on a tri-axle, so it's got a payload of 31 tonnes. The tandem axle's on a payload of 24 tonnes. If you can see down at the drawbar, as it's a tri-axle, it's got a 4-steering axle, so the front axle steers and lifts. It also works in reverse, so for reversing around tight spaces, the axles will turn with you to get into the tightest of spots. Moving around, we'll give you a look at the axles. They come into the UK standard with 826.5 inch tyres, so they're ideal for the best flotation in the field. And they're good for travelling on the road as well. As you can see up to the side of the trailer, we've got hydraulic sides, so each side, left and right, lift or lower individually, or they can be lifted or lower as a pair from the cab. If you need to keep the height of the trailer down for any other specific reason, the rear headboard can be unbolted, so the trailer will be then 680mm lower than the height it sits just now. At the back, we've got an intelligent bumper at the back, so when you initiate the unloading sequence, the bumper will lift up out the way so it doesn't fill the crop. Once you close the door and start driving again over 15 kilometres an hour, the bumper will go back down for road safety. So as you can see inside, we've got a rubber fabric floor. This is designed so we can run any sort of crop in the trailer, so we can have anything in here from rapeseed oil to potatoes, sugar beet, forage crops, snow, anything you can ever think of putting in a trailer. And because it's not actually a push-off trailer, the whole load moves forward with the headboard. That enables us to do the root crops because it's not pushing any force onto the crop to damage it at all. Another tremendous feature we've got on the GX trailer is the award-winning Crone Exact Unload. So that enables the user to input a distance they want to tip the load over. It then gives you a target speed to drive at, and then it evenly distributes the load across that distance.
So have you sold any of these already at all?
So we've not sold any yet. This model just turned up in the back end of last year for the first. So after LAMMA we plan to do some demos with it. We've got quite a lot of contractors and farmers keen to try it, so it's going to be busy out on the roads hopefully the next couple of weeks is the plan, hopefully.
Are we allowed to ask the price at all, or is that slightly variable at the moment?
It's slightly variable, it depends on spec, but yeah, speak to your dealer. As I said, the 440 can be both tandem or tridem axle, so there's quite a price difference in that. There's a few different specs. This one as well, forgot to mention, it's fitted with the remote control system. So you get a remote control, so from the rear of the machine you can open and close the door, move the headboard back and forward and increase and decrease the speed. So if you're unloading into a grain elevator or you're loading the back with a product you want to slowly move back forward with a telehandler, you can do all that with a remote control.
Brilliant. Okay, right, well it looks like a fabulous machine, so hopefully it'll be a popular one to get sold later on this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's turned a few heads over the past day and a bit, so yeah, hopefully we'll do a bit of business.
So thanks very much to Crone for sponsoring today's episode. Certainly a very impressive load of kit on their stand here at LAMMA show. So if you want any more details, then contact your local dealer.
So thanks for coming along this week, Ben, to speak to the Real Country File. It's nice to get you out and about on a farm, mate.
Yeah, it is. We were saying before, weren't we? We've been doing this over a decade, haven't we, Stephen? And it's just nice to be out and about and see farms around the county.
It is indeed. And the last time I saw you, mate, you were on the dance floor. It was the big awards in Birmingham for the Farmers Guardian.
It was British Farming Awards, over 800 people. I was doing my bit on stage, opening the awards, and I tend to mentally switch off after I've done that and have a few beers. So we may have been on the dance floor a bit later that evening, but to be honest, I have no recollection. So
No.
but it was an amazing event, and that's gone from strength to strength over the last 10 years.
And a great night, highlighting our very own Olly Blogs. He was there, unfortunately not the winner, but showcasing all different aspects of farming, and kind of, since, like you said, we've known 12 years we've been doing bits of recording and stuff together. Things have changed, haven't they? A heck of a lot.
They have. I mean, to think about it, when we started out doing this on doing our things on radio, we didn't really have the amount of YouTube influencers that we have now within agriculture. Ollie Harrison's a really fantastic example of that. You've got others, right across the industry, and it's about taking that message of why farming matters and why it is so important. Ollie, yourself, and many others are doing that more than ever, and I think it's fantastic.
And in terms of the top stories, in terms of what's coming into the Farmers Guardian, into your mailbag, and kind of your emails, what are farmers really kind of what's getting them at the minute all agitated and worried, or what's exciting times?
Well, it depends who you listen to, really. I was at the Oxford Farming Conference this week, and that's all about regen ag. It's all about environmental payments. But for me, I think the real story at the moment is the change in support framework within this country for farmers. The move away from the Common Agricultural Policy, the reduction in basic payments, and what that means to farmers' bottom lines. We're on a dairy farm today. BPS might not be a huge part of the equation for some dairy and arable businesses, but there's some other sectors that are going to be screaming. You've also got other sectors like, intensive pigs and poultry, which have been absolutely hammered by the rising input costs and the increase in energy and feed. So it's a really different dynamic right across the sectors in farming at the moment.
When I'm hearing about, we had the problems with bird flu. So, people who aren't putting birds down and not getting more birds in the system. We've got egg shortages in some places, that complex dynamic. And then also with the pork producers, we had a real issues, didn't we, at the beginning of 2022 with a lack of processing capability. So some of those have shrunk the size of their herds as well.
Well, they think that the pig breeding herd might be at its lowest level, ever really. Wow. Now, because there's been such contraction on farms. People have had to make really, really hard decisions about whether they're going to stay in the industry. And the brutal reality is that some haven't. So a lot have exited the industry. The laying hens side of the equation, in the poultry sector, the broiler sector, there's a lot of people scaling back on what they're doing. And at the end of the day, farming is about food production. And sometimes when I listen to, at Oxford, when I'm listening to the farming minister, Mark Spencer, I really wonder whether they actually believe that it is about food production, and that the government should be there to try and keep people, being able to produce as much food as we can in this country. We look at the global complex around Ukraine, around those supply chains, and they're becoming increasingly fragile. And I think there needs to be a bit of a reassessment in government about what those support payments are for, and ensure that we can keep, not necessarily really great businesses like here today, but just keep that critical mass of food producers in business.
And if we don't keep, if we've got the lowest amount of, pork that's out there in the herds, if we've got less eggs, if it has a knock-on effect to what we have to import, which then has an impact on the cost for the consumer. Time of cost of living crisis, food's already on the way up. There's a potential, there's a bit of a storm coming.
I think there is, but you've had a government and you've had government policies for a decade, particularly under Boris Johnson and his predecessors, where they clearly did not prioritise domestic food production. They were quite happy to import it from anywhere in the world. And this country is about 66% self-sufficient, and like you said, at a cost of living crisis. And I think it's being aware of that other side of the coin as well. You know, farmers are facing rising inputs, but we understand that households right across the country are going to be absolutely screaming because of, you know, rising energy bills, the amount you have to put in your car, and whatever it is. Those household budgets are being squeezed. So, you know, affordable food produced here in the UK surely has to be the priority of any government. But I think we're still yet to see that from politicians and DEFRA in particular. And it's even worse when you look at places like Wales, which have got draconian environmental legislation and other bits and bats across the UK.
Oh, we'd love to hear from you. If you're farming in Wales, underneath that legislation, how's it affecting you? You know, is it as Ben says, you know, very different than in England and in Scotland, and I'm guessing you're getting a lot of letters through about just how the changes are affecting farmers in Wales.
Yeah, well, you have the nitrate. They want to put the entirety of Wales into a nitrate vulnerable zone, which will, curtail how much muck they can put on the land, and it's just. You know, farmers, they're really struggling with the legislation. You've also got the huge issue of bovine TB, which is decimating parts of southwest England and into Wales as well. Now, we have the culls in England. They haven't got that. They've got a vaccination strategy in Wales, which many will point to being really a failure, if we're going to be honest about it. So you've got that. You've got those challenges there, and then you've got different dynamics up in Scotland again, you know, especially around the environmental side, greenwashing, you know, multinationals buying up huge swathes of Scotland to carbon offset. I mean, morally and ethically, it's wrong.
Thanks for that, Stephen. Now you can catch up with part 2 of Stephen chatting to Ben on next week's episode. Anyway, while I was at LAMMA, I got in the day before to do some filming, and I found this. Lads on Mechmar have obviously set up and gone home for the night, but this looks like a little mini seed treatment trailer. So it's got a little power pack on it, little augers, little screener, little cyclone. Looks a handy bit of kit actually. Yeah, smart that. And a huge dryer, must be 30 odd ton of that maybe. Next morning, they were on the stand, so I had a good chat to the lads from MacArthur Agriculture.
Mobile grain cleaning system.
Yeah.
So what we've got at the heart of it, you've got a JK Machinery JCC08 vibrating sieve cleaner. Really nice compact cleaner, fine clean around about 5 tons an hour, pre-clean up to 15 tons per hour.
Yep.
And what you've got is you've got a system that has everything. So on the far side, you've your loading auger, your trash screw, and then your good grains coming out here. And everything can be done with one person, and that's what we're trying to do.
Like you just said, everything's on a turntable and it just spins round.
This just turns in.
The other one spins out.
So you can pack this away in about 20 minutes.
And you can hire it out for 250, probably 500 quid a day, maybe.
Yeah, you've got the generator on board at the back, so you don't even need 3-phase wherever you're going. But that's an option, and so you can have it without that, and you can just plug a 16 amp supply into your panel.
I suppose the good thing about the generator is you can set it up anywhere in the yard, can't you?
Exactly, anywhere in the yard, any sites, you can take this to where the grain needs cleaning. And what you're looking at farms that are doing clean only seed and coming away from certified, or doing a little bit less certified seed, but then also grading to make contracts, specifications, or just pre-cleaning and tidying things up. But one of the things we're really seeing is people start to clean more to do value-added processes such as de-hulling and things like that. It's a kind of like a real tool that's got several uses. Yeah,
and totally mobile as well, on quite a smart trailer. You know what someone's going to say? Can't you make it on a skid unit so we can lift it off and use the trailer?
Yes, we can. And
there we go.
We've actually got that drawn up already.
There we go. So it's on the MacArthur Agriculture stand. If you're at LAMMA or you've seen this video after, give them a bell. And we're looking at this bean roaster, and the idea is you grow your own beans, you put them through this, you roast them so you can feed them to your own cattle if you've got cows. But the main thing about it is you can harvest the beans about 3 weeks earlier because you can cut them at 20 to 25% rather than wait for it to get down to 16. And then that also means then that we've got homegrown protein instead of importing soya from South America. So I can see there being a lot of these on farms over the next few years. I thought that was a really good idea. Anyway, were you at LAMMA this week? There was a few people coming up to me on the Tuesday saying hello, and also Angela saw quite a few people on Wednesday that said hello. What did you see there? What was your favourite bit of the show? Would you go again next year? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, don't forget, this week's episode is sponsored by Krone, so contact your local Krone dealer for any information about their products, or follow the link below this video. Thanks again for them for sponsoring it. Thanks to everyone that's watching. Thanks to everyone that's took part in it over the last few weeks, and we will see you all next week.